Because Sigma men are rare, for most people's Sigma encounters, there will be a lack of understanding about who they are and what they value. Most people don't know much about them other than their reputation for being intelligent. Let's see 13 reasons why Sigma men may seem arrogant to others. 1. They are direct. Many decisions in life involve some level of speculation or uncertainty, but not for Sigmas. They base their opinions on facts and logical conclusions rather than feelings or social norms. Let's say someone asks a Sigma man for his opinion on something and he gives it. If the person doesn't like what he has to say, that's too bad, because the Sigma will tell them how they really feel. A Sigma might tell you how you could be more effective in certain settings. Even if you initially feel offended by the feedback, you eventually come to appreciate it as good advice for advancing your career. 2. They don't respect authority just for authority's sake. Sigma men are only interested in those who positively impact their lives and listen to them when they need or want someone to talk to. They may not like having too many bosses, they reason that different opinions create conflict, and they hate being micromanaged. They may or may not have a problem with someone in authority, but if the rules they make prevent them from getting their job done effectively, then it's time to find a better boss who knows what kind of work environment leads to greater productivity. 3. They don't make small talk for the sake of making small talk. Sigma males hold both their time and attention in high regard, so they prefer having deep conversations that are meaningful rather than shallow ones that serve little purpose other than occupying space. If two people are talking about things that interest the Sigma, then they're more likely to enjoy the conversation, but if all someone can offer are tidbits of useless information, then why waste the Sigma's time? If you want a Sigma's undivided attention, be ready with something that's actually worth their time. 4. They don't need to conform to the status quo. They are not afraid of breaking out of traditional molds, so they can sometimes come off as arrogant. People often assume that someone who follows the rules must also be intelligent or at least respectful towards authority. Sigma men see rules as guidelines for changing and improving themselves, not mere suggestions to follow blindly. They can't stand people who won't take responsibility for their own lives and instead just expect someone else to do it for them. The only thing the Sigma man hates more than staying in a bad situation is feeling worthless. 5. They think outside the box. Sigma males go where their curiosity takes them, which also means they reject ideas that don't make any sense. They like thinking for themselves, coming up with new ways of doing things, and preferring solo tasks over group work. Some people may see their innovative ideas as a challenge to the status quo or a threat to established thinking, which makes Sigmas appear arrogant in their eyes. 6. They can be secretive and mysterious. They are often private people who don't like to get deep with others unless they know it's worth their time. They don't trust someone just because they are in a position of authority and would rather catch them doing something that makes it obvious what kind of person they are before believing everything they say. This is how they develop their own opinions and perspectives, making it difficult for them to explain why they act or think the way they do. They are mysterious in the sense that people can't really grasp what they are thinking, because it's rare for them to ever say anything out loud. Being mysterious is also a reason that makes them attractive to women, but at the same time, they are also seen as arrogant. 7. They're usually right. It doesn't matter how smart you are, some things just aren't worth debating about, because your talking points will never convince the other person to see things your way, and it will put you in a bad mood. Sigma men don't like engaging with people who lack understanding, but they often tolerate them until their grievances become too irritating to bear. 8. They hold themselves accountable. A Sigma will never blame someone else for their own mistakes because they take responsibility to fix what went wrong. They don't want to live in a fantasy where they're infallible, but instead prefer knowing what needs fixing and dealing with it accordingly. It's also possible that a Sigma will refuse to acknowledge your mistake if you try to pass it off as nothing or play the victim card, which often makes them look arrogant. 9. They make decisions with their head, not their heart. Sigma men are more interested in understanding the world rather than sympathizing with people. Their decisions are based on logic and reason, using tried-and-true methods that work for the betterment of everyone involved. They don't waste time trying to please everyone, but instead care about finding a long-lasting solution where each party involved benefits by cooperating. 10. They understand the big picture. Unlike other personality types, a Sigma male doesn't see knowledge as something limited or finite. They're capable of holding vast amounts of information in their head and can remember it more or less indefinitely. This makes them very diligent when analyzing the surrounding environment and coming up with a way to solve problems. They're not interested in perfecting small goals, but instead, they focus on making a bigger impact. 11. They know how to get things done. Sigma men aren't procrastinators, especially when someone else's task has fallen behind schedule. Rather than sitting back and letting everyone slack off, there's a good chance that a Sigma man will offer to help until the project is finished. They don't understand why other people make such a big deal about doing things. If it needs to get done, then who cares who's going to do it? Knowing what they want in life makes it easier for Sigma to set deadlines and determine what needs to be done in order to achieve success. They are action takers who do not like to keep things up in the air. 12. They are intelligent. We talk about the 3 different levels of intelligence: IQ, learning, and wisdom. Sigma men find themselves somewhere in the middle because they can understand complex systems like engineering or how to fix a car, but aren't able to explain it in the same way that other types might. Sigmas aren't afraid to take things apart and put them back together again, but they don't see the point in getting into all of the unnecessary details in the process. 13. They are very creative. They don't just sit around and come up with new ideas, they put together a plan and try to make it happen. Their creativity doesn't stop at simple concepts either, which makes them very resourceful when it comes to problem solving. They like to think about all of the different possibilities that could happen and keep coming up with alternatives until they find one that works. Being creative doesn't necessarily mean that someone is good at drawing or writing stories. It's always about finding new ways to get things done.